Okay, so let's look at this piecewise function that we have graphed in question 16, and we've got to come up with the formula for each piece of the graph. Now let's start with the easy one. This piece right here, let's notice, is a piece of a horizontal line. And remember, we talked about in class that a horizontal line has the equation y equals a number. And in this case, you can see that it's going through 3, so it's y equals 3. Now, this is between -2 and 3, so it's this piece right here that we want to put it in here. Now, we don't have to put the y equals. That's the f of x equal part out here. We just need to put the 3. So that's the easy part of this one. Let's go to the harder parts. Now, in class, we talked about the y equals mx plus b form. See if this will allow me to write on the screen or not. Maybe not. It's not working. Okay, so let me write that on a sheet. Y equals mx plus b. And remember, m was our slope and b was our y-intercept. So let's go back to this for a second. And let's count. We can see very clearly this point right here. And we can see that it hits kind of the grid mark right here. So I'm going to do a count. I'm going to go, let's see, up 1, 2, 3, and over 1, 2 to get to this point right here. So that means the slope, m, is 3 over 2, because I went up 3 and over 2. So I already know the slope, 3 over 2. And then I need to figure out what the y-intercept is. So if this kept going, so if I went up 3 and over 2 here, 1, 2, 3 would put me right in here, and then over 2 would actually put me at 7 for the y-intercept. I know we're going off the graph there, but I think you can see where that is. All right. So there is the equation, 3/2 x plus 7. So I would, oops, go there. There we go. Now let's notice this is between -6 and -2. So it's this piece. So I want to type in 3/2 x plus 7. All right, and then the last one, let's do exactly the same idea. So let's notice that we can see it would be going through this point right here. And I can also, looks like it hits the grid perfectly right there. So let's count down to that and over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So that's a -5 and over 2. So -5 over 2 is the slope. So
you do.
And now I've got to decide what that y-intercept is going to be. So let's notice if this kept going, it would hit the y-axis over here. So now my slope is still -5 over 2, but to get upward here, we're going to have to count upward. So let's go, I'm going to go 2 places this way, and 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then this one's a little bit harder because I've got to keep going that way. So what may help us a little bit more here is to put in one of these points and solve for b, because otherwise I'm counting over and having a hard time finding it. So let's see, we can see that it would have gone through the point 3, 2, so x value 3, y value 2, so let me go back here. And we don't know b, so we're going to put in, what was that again? That point was, I'll write it down here, 3, 2, no. So 3, 2 is the point. Okay, so we're going to put a 2 in for y and a 3 in for x, and we'll solve and find out what b is. So 2 in for y. And a 3 in for x, and we got to solve and figure out what b is. Now, be careful with your fractions here. 5 is 5 halves. Has to multiply by 3 over 1. So multiply top, multiply bottom. That's negative 15 halves right there. And if we want to, we can change that into a decimal, which is going to be negative 7.5. Easier to deal with. And now let's add 7.5 to both sides. I'm going to draw here instead of trying to type this. And we get B equals 9.5. So in this one, since it was sort of halfway, it was very difficult trying to count up and find out what that y-intercept. We had to sort of do this process. So this piece is now negative 5 halves x. Well, gosh darn it, didn't mean to do that. Plus 9.5. So that's what we're going to put into that last blank. Negative 5 halves x plus 9/5.
And the black one around there is, let's see. He's not in there. Let me get Ramsey. I think Ramsey has the piece of that up.
Was that 9.5?
Right. No.
Yes. All right. And there it is, our piecewise function. So hopefully that will help you get through that backward problem.